Hello and welcome back to World Talks here on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski is on a visit to Berlin, where he met his counterparts from Europe's Big Five, that is Poland, Germany, Spain, Italy and France. Representatives from the UK and the EU are also attending. Minister Sikorski said Putin's aggressive war is a threat, not just to Ukraine, but to the established order in Europe. He is trying to change borders by force. Annalena Baerbock, a German foreign minister, called for hard security guarantees and long-term military and financial support for Ukraine. It seems that we are finally seeing a cohesive response to Russia's war in Ukraine. How is this going to change the dynamic both in Ukraine and the future of Europe? Well, to explore this, we are joined by Karolina Borońska-Hryniewiecka, Associate Research Fellow at the Sorbonne University in Paris.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning and welcome to TVP World. Thank you for taking the time.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you. So, the Big Five grouping, what is it? We see so many national groupings at the moment. What's the aim of this one?
It is true. It is true. Well, maybe let's say that from the Polish perspective, from our country's perspective, this is a very important format. Obviously, the Big Five some time ago was meeting in a different configuration because that was France, Italy, Spain, Germany, and the UK. But after Brexit, when the UK exited from the European Union, this became a smaller format. And obviously, during Polish law and justice government, Poland was not so much included in these discussions. So now we are looking at a renewed format of G5, including Poland. And actually, we have to perceive Poland now as some sort of an accelerator and trigger of this format. So before discussing yesterday's meeting in Berlin, we have to remind our audience that on November 19, there was a first kind of renewed format of G5 meeting in Łazienki in Warsaw, and it was organized by our foreign minister Radosław Sikorski. That was to reassure Polish presence in this format. So Poland is back on this international scene as some sort of honest broker between these powers, because we are here having European member states, EU member states, plus United Kingdom, very important defense and security guarantor. But also in this format, as you have mentioned, there were two more invitees, very important people. So Foreign Minister of Ukraine and also High Representative for Foreign Policy, Kaja Kallas. So we have, I would say, multidimensional and multi-level format. Intergovernmental, but also European Union oriented.
Right. So quite a powerful combination, I would suggest. Now, Minister Sikorski said that Putin's aggressive war is a threat not just to Ukraine, but to the established order in Europe. Can you throw some light on what you think he meant by that?
Well, we all know what he meant by that. Basically, we're living at a very geopolitically insecure moment. We have lots of uncertainties around, not only connected with what Putin will do next, but also what new president in the US, Donald Trump, will do next. Because as we know, he has declared that he will end this war, meaning Russian-Ukrainian war, within 24 hours. So when he will be sworn in Washington at the end of January, everybody, all the eyes of the world will be on Trump and his resolve and his secret peace plan. That's why European leaders have to be prepared for any scenarios. And as we know, Ukraine needs very strong peace guarantees from NATO, but also from the European Union. And yesterday's meeting was very important in the sense that it confirmed on the paper this European Union plus UK resolve to stand with Ukraine, to guarantee security to Ukraine, to wait for Ukraine as a future potential member of NATO and of the European Union. And obviously there were a lot of talks on financing on all of that. Let's remind that the new European Commission has just taken office and it's starting to work, and we have a new commissioner for defense spending, for defense industry, Andrius Kubilius. He was obviously not present yesterday, but Kaja Kallas, who is the new, as I said already, High Representative for Foreign Policy and Security Policy, she will be the main player and protagonist in shaping the European Union response to what Trump will offer, to what Trump will present as his idea, and also brokering that with Ukraine to the best interest of the latter one, obviously.
Understood. Okay. Now, you mentioned Ukraine requiring security guarantees. How is that going to happen? Are we talking about boots on the ground? Are we talking about a peace deal, a combination of the two? And if there are boots on the ground, whose?
Yes. I'm not an expert on defense, so I will already give ground to more experienced analysts who look very closely at who's said by whom. But for the moment, I think we are, as Poland, we're waiting, we're anticipating, we're not, declaring anything too strong, apart from the fact that we're firm in the most, constructive financial support for Ukraine, and also for brokering the most fair peace deal that might arrive. In terms of this guarantees on the ground, on military presence, I think nobody at this point can say a concrete, because this is all up to what's going to happen next year, in the next months of the next year, with Trump and Putin maybe meeting and talking. Maybe the war will escalate. We don't know. Some think tanks and some experts are actually seeing a grim picture of what might happen.
Indeed.
And not really a peaceful solution. So this is all very unpredictable, and that's why it is so important that these superpowers are meeting and talking and finding common ground on that.
Indeed, but it sounds though that whatever the peacekeeping force is, whatever the agreement is, Europe's going to have to really step up to the plate and implement that, because Trump has made clear that he's not putting American boots on the ground. So yes, we look forward to seeing what the cohesive European response is to that. Moving on to something slightly different, there have been various media reports that former Law and Justice Prime Minister in Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, is going to be taking over from Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni as president of the EU's Conservative ECR group from January the 1st. What is the ECR group? How influential is it?
Yes. Well, European Conservatives and Reformists are supranational political group. So we have national parties in different member states, but they all create and they belong to supranational European groupings who are our representatives in the European Parliament. So if we look at the European Parliament now, we see that European Conservatives and Reformists are the fourth most numerous group. They used to be the third, but now they are the fourth. They have been taken over by patriots. And this is important for our conversation here, because now we have actually two influential Eurosceptic groups. ECR has been led by Giorgia Meloni from Fratelli d'Italia, Brothers of Italy. But now we're hearing that this position will be taken over by our former prime minister coming from the Law and Justice Party, Mateusz Morawiecki.
Right. So how is that going to influence the EU's response to what we've been discussing in Ukraine, peacekeeping, and so on?
Well, as far as this topic is concerned, this is probably one of the only fields on which we see certain cross-party consensus, because European Conservatives and Reformists have a slightly or quite importantly different vision of the European Union than, for example, European People's Party or Socialists and Democrats. but they actually stay very firm on the ground when it comes to supporting Ukraine, to fighting Russian influence and disinformation, etc. So in this sense, they might be considered as allies. It is also very important to say that this week is an important week for European conservatives of Meloni party, because if we look at Italy, since last Sunday until this Sunday, there is a quite important event. It's called Atreyu. It's conservative youth in Italy organizes this festival before Christmas to discuss many issues and to invite a lot of people from around the world. And as far as I've read the Italian newspapers these days, Mateusz Morawiecki is supposed to be one of the guests at the closing ceremony on Sunday. This is going to take place in Rome at the Circo Massimo. And probably there will be a symbolic shift of power from Meloni to Morawiecki. But
Right.
also, if we look at Warsaw, these days, actually today, there is the last day of the so-called study days of European conservatives and reformists. So there's a lot of talks within this conservative expert and politician circle about the future of Europe as well. So as you
Right.
can see, talks are going on many levels and in many configurations.
They certainly are. They certainly are. Karolina Borońska, thank you so much for your analysis and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. That's all from us here on TVP World, but stay tuned, lots more coming up.